Swaha. Doing a video on the last nail of Pluto. The last nail, I mean that Pluto has to get to 3 degrees in order to back off, because a lot of people are asking me, when is this violence and when is, the world going to seem like it's, reestablishing some peace. I'm doing this taping on February the 3rd of 2026, and Uranus stations direct today, I believe. Let me just check that. Yeah, Uranus stations direct. So Uranus has been moving in and out of Taurus and going into Gemini. It's going to permanently go into Gemini. Let me see, I think it's in April. Let me just check my ephemeris for you. Let me see, I wasn't prepared because I was going to talk about Pluto. Uranus goes into Gemini in May, I think. Let's see, it's going to go into Gemini, yeah, the end of April of 2026. And get out of this instability with the economy. So we should see some good things going on with the economy, getting out of this slump that we've been felt ever since President Trump took office. It seems like the economy has been all over the place. So hopefully as Uranus goes into Gemini, Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So communication in Gemini is going to be much more clear, and things will be less muddled and all over the place, even in the news media. Excuse me if I sound like I got a cold. I got a little bit of sinus, but we've been going through New England a very terrible cold season in the winter. Normally we go through the winter season and it's not a big deal, but it seems like we're getting into the 0 degrees when we wake up in the morning every morning, and that's pretty cold. 0 degrees, sometimes minus underneath the 0 degree, -5, -10, which we're going to get this weekend. So I have the humidifier. You see a little smoke going up here. That's why putting some humidity into the environment, because it's so dry right now. So if you hear me coughing a little bit, I'm a little bit congested. At any rate, at least I'm not sick. I haven't been sick, so that's good. Really, really with a tough cold. Pluto takes up to 20 years to go through a sign, anywhere from like 12, 13 to 20 years. It started to go through, it started to enter the sign of Aquarius on May of 2023. And then it kind of went back and forth from Capricorn trying to get into Aquarius, from Capricorn trying to get into Aquarius. Capricorn is a normal establishment of government. It deals with structure. And so Pluto had been in Capricorn since I think 2007 up until now, May of 2023, and then and then it went back into Capricorn. And then now it's permanently in Aquarius as of November the 19th of 2024. But the number 3 is the magic number. It has to get to 3 degrees. There's 30-degree orbs in astrology, 30 calendar days in a month. So each day the sun moves a degree. But Pluto takes a long time to get from 1 degree to the next degree. As you notice, right now it's, at 3 degrees. And it had to get to 3 degrees. It took all this time since November the 19th of 2024 to get to 3 degrees. Will it stay at 3 in 2026? Well, it's going to go back. It's going to retrograde at some point. And then it's going to go back. It's going to retrograde. Let me see when it stations retrograde, because that means that it's going to be at 4 or 5 degrees. The reason why I'm bringing this up, in my point, is that 3 is the magic number. It takes 3 degrees for any planet to get comfortable in the new sign that it's entering into. So it's trying to take on the qualities and the characteristics of that sign. And we've noticed over the last few years, I mean, the Ukraine war is coming up 4 years, I think February the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. And so we've seen a lot of this destruction and all kinds of things. But when it gets at 3 degrees, it really settles into the sign, is my point. And that's not going to happen until, because Pluto's going to go retrograde at some point and go, because it's getting into, it's 3, but it'll get into 4 degrees. Yeah, it starts at 4 degrees in March, it looks like. I'm sorry, in the middle of February, it'll start at 4 degrees. So now it's starting to really feel like it's settling in. The kinds of things that you're seeing are people becoming more independent about, they're not being able to rely on the government anymore. The federal government on both sides of the United States, Republican and Democrat, independent, whatever, is very dysfunctional. Okay, so neither party is helping. They're too busy trying to put each other in jail at this point. So the song "Lawyers in Love" by Jackson Browne that he put out in 1983, that kind of fits with what's going on. Lawyers, it's all about lawyers. It's all about indicting people and trying to find wrong and all that. Our political leaders, especially in America, need to know about time management, where they should be spending their time, which was supposed to be, according to the Republic, it's supposed to be, helping people. It's supposed to be of America. It's most of their attention should be on their main question when they wake up in the morning is, how are Americans doing today? Is their rent payments lower? Is, the food prices lower? Housing, you already mentioned that, rent, cable bill, car insurance. Do I need to go on and on and on? Electric bill with expenses. That's not the main focus. Okay, the main focus is overpowerment. Who's better? Who's not better? We're right. You're wrong. This is a dualistic, intense dualistic energy that at some point has to break down. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is that energy to do that. Okay, so now you've got Pluto as of, let's see, it's going to go into 4 degrees the middle of February, and then it stations retrograde in May, because now it's going to go back. Retrograde going back. When I have 4, it goes back to 3, and it's going to station direct at, let's see. Yeah, it's going to station direct at 3 degrees on October 16th of 2026, and then it goes back to 4 degrees in December, at the end of December, around December 20th of 2026. Once we get to that point, so we got the whole year 2026, that's why I'm calling it the last nail. It takes 3 years. I mean, it takes a few degrees for as I was saying, for the planet to settle into that sign. Well, when you think about it, being born in a flesh body, doesn't it take at least till you're 3 years old for you to start to feel like you're getting used to being here on this planet? Okay. Children at that point usually are walking. They learn to walk. They're talking. They're starting. So it takes 3 degrees, and then we get to 4 degrees at the end of December. So let's say Christmas of 2026 is the last hurrah. It's wrapping up everything. So we could see, I would say, the midterms, from that time on, October, November, December 2026, you're going to see a switch in the energy politically, hopefully for the better. But we also have President Trump kind of in trouble this year. All right, so I'm predicting there's going to be 3, and I normally don't say this, but I'm going to say it, 3 assassination attempts on his life within between now, which is February 3rd, and I would say till July of 2027, if he makes it that far. This could be a hospitalization. I'm not saying he could get killed totally, but he's pushing and pushing, and it's getting, Pluto is, overreacting to that Pluto and Aquarius energy, which is people protesting. Now, Pluto represents traditionally all replication processes like conception and printing. Pluto governs the masses, waste, subversion, atomic power, and crime. It rules phobias and obsessions, slow growth, group factors, transmutation, beginnings and endings, birth and death, isolation, kidnapping, disappearance, bacteria and viruses, represents generation, regeneration, and degeneration. It opposes that which has been developed secretly or undercover. It governs vacancy, plumbing, dictatorships, unpopular causes, and the exclusive. Pluto's action is slow, ponderous, and inevitable. It is the last of the transcendental planets and is considered a higher octave of Mars. So Mars is a planet of war, planet of aggression. And we are seeing all around the world this idea, especially the last 3 years, right? Blowing up buildings. Look at Israel and the Palestinians. I mean, it is just, the numbers are crazy. What did they supposedly they killed over 60,000 Palestinians. That's a lot of death. So birth and death, I often relate Pluto to the Hindu god Shiva, to break things and renovate things in order to acclimate it to a higher level. So even though we're seeing this very intense duality all through 2026 until we step into 2027, we are getting things cleaned up. So I would call President Trump the cleanup president. Again, some things that he's doing are very good, but it's the way he's doing it and the kind of comments to other people. You're an idiot. You're stupid. Shut up or be quiet, little piggy. And this kind of, childish, very immature emotionally. We don't vote for people, leaders, to call us names. We vote leaders in to help us become more unified, not separated. So there's a lot of this duality going on all the way through 2026. And that's going to be, this is the last hurrah now. This is the year of disclosure. I'm calling next year, 2027, the year of miracles, because things are really going to get a lot better than people realize. And a lot of that is going to come from extraterrestrial races that are more benevolent than us. They're way ahead of us. The Pleiadians are 8,000 years ahead of us technologically. The average age is like 700 to 1,000 years old. And there are several extraterrestrial races, the Arcturians, the Syrians, and Andromedians. I can't pronounce their name right. I'm sorry. Andromedans, but you know the proper name. Just look it up. And there's also these other groups that are going to be quarantined that are less than positive, such as the Zeta Reticuli and the abduction cases. So we have a lot of going on here. July is a big month turning point in 2026, as it marks the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. But President Trump, I feel, is, I wrote down some dates for you. There's various dates that he's in, all the way from now until Valentine's Day. Okay, we have seen troubles for him in terms of his numbers going down and people becoming more discouraged about the way he's handling immigration. Then there's the end of April is the other dates, April 25th to the 28th. This is when Uranus will square his Mars on his ascendant in Leo. So he's been getting a square from Uranus to his ascendant since the government shut down in 2025. That was the longest in history. We also have Saturn square to his Mercury. That's going to come up at the end of April. July 6th to August 6th is also a time when his progressed moon is opposing his vocational house. The progressed moon only goes to a sign. It takes 2.5 years to go through a sign. It's in Scorpio and it's fall in his chart. And Scorpio deals with birth and death issues, and Pluto's the natural ruler of Scorpio, along with Mars, was a classical ruler. And that's what's happening in his chart presently, all the way. And then July 6th to August the 6th, the progress moon will square his rising sign. So July, even though it's a happy time in our birthday, 250th birthday, the security would have to be, as it always is, very tight with him. He just needs to get off his dictatorship seat and start asking questions and listening to everyone rather than I have all the answers, just shut up and listen to me. That's why I didn't vote for him, because of that reason. I don't think he's a bad person. I don't think, look at my video on Lord Ashtar's explanation of President Trump and his relationship to the White Hat Alliance group that a lot of the UFO community talks about, if he does have that alliance. I'll be doing that taping today, actually, on information from Lord Ashtar on that. But President Trump also has difficulties with health. Pluto at 3 degrees is in his health house. It just entered it, so it's going to be there for the rest of his life probably, because it's going to take 20 years for Pluto to go through Aquarius. And he got till 29 degrees of Aquarius before it gets out of his 6th house of health. So, he'll be way on his way of old age, but I don't think he'll make it that far anyhow. Health is another concern with the dates that I mentioned before. Pluto is about ready to wrap things up, so I think at the end of this year, I know we're going to get UFO contact sometime between July of 2026 and July of 2027. There is going to be a major UFO contact that is going to let everybody know that they are here and that we are not alone. It could be President Putin setting off a nuclear bomb, or some kind of a biochemical weapon that gets things really going. And then there's China and Taiwan, and there's all these other energies going around. There's the push about owning other people's property, such as Greenland and that sort of thing. But look towards July and beyond that. July 26th to July of 2027. You're gonna start seeing more open dialogue in the government and more sightings of UFOs. And it's the Pleiadians, the Sirians, and the Arcturians that will be most connected with us to help us. See my book, Full Moon Messages from the Pleiadians, covers some of the changes coming up and the new technologies they'll be bringing. They have technology that can clean up the pollution on this planet within a year. All the pollution, and add negative ions back into the air, the prana in the air, get us more revitalized. They have technologies called Elohim consciousness light technologies that end up increasing the megahertz, the vibrational frequencies of the auric field, where you can sit in a chair or lie and be in a capsule. They call them med beds, or you can just be standing up and having things surround you. Sound, light, and color therapies that spin at certain megahertz that we don't even are aware of here, just beginning to be aware of. And they can go in and heal they can do surgery with just these thin rods of light. And they know exactly what organ is out of place and so their health, they don't have health issues like we do. They don't have cancer, diabetes, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, any of the dementia type of diseases. They are very happy and kind of balanced. And when you have 700 years or 1,000 years, and some of them live even 4,000 years, and it goes on and on. As you go up the ladder, you get more refined. The body gets more refined, the light body. We are going through a molecular cellular shift. So people are feeling uncomfortable. People are snapping. Some people are having nervous breakdowns. This is why you're seeing some of these weird, dark things happening. Evil is live spelled backwards. So anything anti-life is evil. That's on the increase as well as the light. So they're having a little fight here. And eventually like I said, between July of 2026 and July of 2027, the last nail of Pluto is happening. But we should see it calming down by the beginning of 2027, where there is more, peace agreements and this sort of things are calming down. And we've got to get holistic healthcare. Excuse me. It's got to be a part of the whole thing. The government is just, they're useless. Their healthcare is all it is surgery and drugs. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying it shouldn't be the only thing for preventative healthcare. And so we need our healthcare system. They've already got robots now over the last 5 or 10 years, I forget the length of the past, that are doing open heart surgery without even having to open up the chest cavity. That's how advanced things are going to be getting. And so I wish you all the best in this 2006. Keep it together. Things are going to look dark again, continue on and off for 2026. But as we get to the last few months of 2026, there is a shift. And I do feel that the last expression of the way that we have been voting politically in America for the midterms will be the last time that we're voting in that way. The political system will be very, very different in running for president in 2028 because of the intervention of other highly evolved races that are going to guide us in a different direction and not be so codependent on leaders to always give us all the answers. That's the main thing. We have to become self-empowered. They're not here to save us, these other races. They're here to help us become more aware of how self-empowered we are and how we can take control of our own lives. That's what President Trump is here for. Poking at everybody, pressing all their buttons so that finally people can get so fed up and say, we've had enough of this. We want to create our own reality. We don't want governments or anybody else, the healthcare system, the banking system, the international banking. We don't want them telling us how to run our lives anymore because we know better than they do. Okay, they're lost in a big game of ego and money and everything else, and they're lost. Jesus Christ, who they believe in strongly, they say, said that you cannot serve two masters, money and God. So there's a sacrifice. Pluto in Aquarius is about sacrificing one's own individual, ego. And that's about all I'll say. So, namaste. Wish you the best. Om Swaha.